Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning into this video. I'm really excited to film this today. I'm going to be painting this cheapo personal size planner that I purchased on Amazon. I'm going to be using the Angelus Petal Pink. Now, this is leather paint, so if you're curious, this is what it looks like. And it's, I know in the bottle, I'm probably thinking, well, that's the same pink, my friend, but it's really not. So I'm going to show you in just a second. But I have painted a planner before. I painted a Marion Smith that I purchased. I bought it, and I was going to show it to you, but I actually let my mom use it for right now. But I purchased it through, like, during one of her sales, like for things that were damaged and she couldn't sell, and it had like some marks on the front, and it was teal, and I'm not like the biggest fan of teal. I like mint, but not so much teal. So I decided to paint it, and I saw somebody else on Instagram do it. I couldn't even tell you who the first person I saw, because before I knew it, like tons of people were doing it. So I'm really excited to be painting this one. Now, like I said, this is a really cheap planner that I found on Amazon. It was like $11. It's got like some marks on it or whatever, but it was really cheap. The size is bizarre. It's like not like a true personal size. The rings are personal size and the inserts are personal size, but like the planner shell itself is not. But I don't mind. Like, it's kind of cool. It's little. The rings are really small, and I just thought, you know, could be fun. I really want like a kind of a brighter pink planner, and I figured I wouldn't feel bad painting it if it were a cheap one. So I'm going to show you how I do it. Now, this did come with like some grid paper inserts and like grid paper, dot grid paper, lined paper, and plain paper. And all of this came inside, which is kind of cool. You get all those options. But like I said, it does fit personal. So I'll put my personal items in here, the personal planner inserts that I have. Now, I did start to paint a little corner here on the back because I wanted to show you the difference of the color. So this is the color of the planner, this is the color of the paint. It is a significant difference. So I wanted you to see that. And I'm just going to show you, I'm going to paint this back here. I'm going to kind of shake up the paint really quick. I'm just going to show you how to do this. Now, I'm not going to be able to do this whole thing on camera, I don't think. And you have to do like more than one layer. So this is how you would paint it if you used just the like little tiny brush that came with the leather paint, which, you know, is one way to do it. You could definitely just sit here and use, it's kind of like a nail polish paint brush, which is cool. It is going to give you these like little tiny marks. Now, the key when you paint your planner is that you want to make sure that all of your stroke lines go in the same direction. So you don't want to like be doing it sideways and then turn. Like, you want all of your stroke marks to be going in the same direction. And typically you kind of want it to go in the direction of the leather. Now, this is faux leather, you know, of course. So it's not really that important because the leather isn't real, and it's not going to age, it's not going to crack, like, it's, you don't have to worry about any of those things. So but leather paint is so easy to work with. It's just like working with regular paint, and yeah, it's really great. So you can really tell the difference in the colors. So here's the planner, here's the paint fresh, and here's the paint when it's dry. It really is going to be this really bright, like bubblegum pink, and oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed. I'm so excited. Now, the pink I painted on my Marion Smith was more like the pink that this planner started as. I want to say it was like ballet pink or something like that. I can't remember the color. But it is also by Angelus, and it was like the really light pink. It's so pretty, you guys. Like, so pretty. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that planner. I just wanted something a little bit brighter, and I've been seeing some previews of the January Planner Society kit, and oh my gosh, you guys, I want to have this planner like ready to go because it is beautiful, and I want to put a spread in here. I also want to have this planner for Valentine's Day because I am a pink girl, and Valentine's Day, as if you ever need an excuse, but oh no. But Valentine's Day is like the perfect time to use your pink. So I'm really excited to have like a nice pretty bubblegum pink planner for different kits and whatnot for Valentine's Day. And I've got some really great divider sets in my, oh, see that? That was like hair or something. I don't know. Anyway, I've got some really beautiful planner set, divider sets in my shop that are great for Valentine's Day as well. And I'm gonna be filming a couple of planner setups with those so you can see different ways to set up your planner for Valentine's Day. Now you're probably looking at this and thinking, man, that is so stripy. And it kind of is, and you don't have to panic, because we're gonna put on another coat and quite possibly another 2 coats, because I want it to really be pink and like really saturated. So there very well might be like 2 more coats coming on top of this. We're just gonna have to see how it dries. So you don't have to worry about all these stripes. You can try to get them, as minimal as you want. I think part of the problem is this brush. Like, I mean, it legit is like a nail polish brush. Like, look. So we'll see. When you're painting your planner, make sure that you get the edges really well, because those are easy to forget. And that is one thing that using this little tiny nail polish brush. Okay, so it's been about 24 hours or so since I put on this first coat. I was going to film some more yesterday, however, life just got a little bit crazy with all my crazy children in this house. So I'm just going to show you really quickly what this looks like. So as you can see, there's definitely some areas that, are peeking through the paint, and definitely here we missed a little bit, but all in all, it's looking pretty good. Here you can tell the major difference in the color. So it's actually a very significant difference. This is very light pink, and this is like a perfect little bubblegum pink. I just adore it. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna open this wide, and I'm gonna try to put, larger coats on this. Now, the first time, okay, so apparently my camera was fuller than I thought it was, and it stopped recording. But basically what I did was I used this angled brush, and I dipped just the tip into the paint, and I painted horizontally on the planner. It's really important that you paint the stripes all in the same direction, because you don't want to have, when it's dry, you'll be able to see the brush strokes if you're painting in more than one direction. And you might even be able to see the brush strokes when you're done with this anyway, just because of the type of paint that it is. I feel like it never really gets a very smooth coating, but we can try as hard as we can. So I went ahead and painted the other side. Now this is wet. This is all painted, but it is wet, and I used the larger brush. However, when I got around the clasp, I used the nail polish type paintbrush around the edge. Now I'm also going to use this to try to, as I mentioned before, and I don't know if it made it onto the camera or not, I do not plan on painting the inside of this planner. I want the light pink on the inside to be there. I kind of like the contrast. So when I paint the edges here, I'm being really careful, because I want the inside to stay that light pink. So I don't want to have to, fix any major mistakes that I do. So what I did there was I just painted the edge with the nail polish type brush, and then I used the bigger brush to kind of even out the strokes. Okay, so now we're gonna let this part dry. And we do need to give it a pretty decent amount of time in between coats. You want it completely dry. If it's a little bit tacky, it could stick. And if it sticks, you may not get that really smooth texture. And then all of this was for nothing, because now you just have a blobby mess, and that wasn't worth it. So while that's drying, I am gonna come over here and put a second coat on this side of the planner. And again, I'm just dabbing the ends of this angled brush It's a very fluffy angled brush. It's used in painting for corners, for up against we use this up against our crown molding or up against molding. And that is why it's extra fluffy. So if you can see over here where it's wet and I'm painting over it, you can kind of see it's almost pulling up the paint that was put there first. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying, you know, you want to wait until it's all the way dry. So just gonna put a thin layer on top of here. And that's the other key, friends, when you're painting this, when you're painting your planner, you don't want to pack on really thick coats because you'll never be able to get it like all the way even, and your planner will get really blobby. You gotta love these technical terms, right? Blobby. And I'm making sure that I'm running from edge to edge. So I'm kind of taking the paintbrush off the edge and then I'm running it across, because I also don't want there to be like a pool of paint in the stitches on the side. So I'm making sure that I kind of pull it from one end to the other. And then when I get to the edge here again, I'm just getting paint all over my backdrop. I will just use this to paint the edge. Now this part's kind of tedious, but you know, it's not the end of the world. And I'm gonna make sure that I get these corners really well. Corners are the first thing to chip after you paint this, so you know, don't forget those corners. And if you want to put a little extra third layer on there on the corner, I don't think anybody's gonna be mad at you. Now right now it looks, you know, different because it's all wet, but I really am loving how easy this planner is to paint. Now I will link in the description box below what this planner is. I found it on Amazon. It is literally a no name. I bought it for $11. And it's, you know, nothing fancy pants by any sense of the word, but I wanted it because I knew I wanted to paint. I couldn't find a planner in the color that I wanted, and so I knew that I was going to want to paint it, and I didn't want to spend a ton of money on a planner that I was going to paint, and then what if I hated it? Then that would be terrible. So yeah, I just didn't want to spend a ton of money. And there are other ways to paint the planner. This, like I said, I'm using leather paint. This is clearly not a real leather planner. And if you're going to choose a planner, like if you wanted to not, you know, do the one through Amazon and you wanted to just go to Michael's and buy one, you know, with a 50% coupon for 10 bucks, and then you wanted to paint that. I know that even some on their website are like $7. And who cares what the color is, right? Because you're just gonna paint it. But if you want to try something different, you know, you can, I would search on Instagram as well as YouTube for different ways of painting your planner, because I've seen many other ways. I know that Marion Smith actually painted her planner, and she painted hers after mine. Otherwise, I might have considered her way, but she painted hers after mine, and she just used acrylic paint, and then she covered it with a really thin layer of Mod Podge. Was it Mod Podge or acrylic sealant? I can't even remember what it was, but she didn't even use leather paint, and she still found a way. She painted one of her planners red. It was beautiful. And so don't take my way as the only way. There are lots of different ways to do it. I personally just find this way to be the easiest for me. And when you're done with this, you don't technically have to seal it. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if really, like, if that's a step that is supposed to be taken. I don't know. I didn't do it on the planner that I painted before, and I don't plan on doing it on this planner. I'm not going to use it long enough or enough to worry about putting on that extra coat. And the great thing about this type of paint is it's designed to be used when there's like a tear on, we use it like if there's a tear in shoes, or if there's a tear in like leather furniture, or your, leather seats in your car. So anytime you start to see a chip or anything like that, you don't have to repaint your entire planner. You can just use this little tiny, nail polish brush and spot treat. So now we just have to let this dry. So I will be back probably, I don't know if I'll be back later today. I'll do my very best. It's really cold and damp here today, so that's really going to affect the drying time, and I don't want to mess with it too much. I don't know if you can tell here, I'll kind of lift it to the light, but there is a pretty significant difference between the 2 coats and the 1 coat. And when this dries, we'll be able to tell if we're gonna need a 3rd coat. We'll see. If I feel like it's still looking a little bit too stripy, or if I feel like it's just not saturated as much as I'd like, and we can always put on a 3rd coat. We definitely have enough. Let me show you what we're working with here. Yeah, we've still got like, I don't know, 3/4 of the bottle. So definitely have enough paint to do a 3rd coat if we decide we need it. So I'll go ahead and check back with you as soon as this is dry, and we'll put the next layer on. Okay, hi friends. So I've given this about 4 hours to dry, and for the most part it's pretty dry. It's slightly tacky, but feels good to me. However, I did notice that over here, something scratched it. I don't know if I did that or if that was like a scratch that was already on the planner. I don't remember. But I do think I want to go ahead and just put one more thin layer. And then I also want to work on the edges here. And so we're going to do that now. Let me just go ahead and pour a little bit of the paint into the little IKEA bowl that I had used. I did clean my brush after the last time I used it so that it didn't dry and get cakey on there and ruin the brush. That's really key. You always want to rinse your brush between every use, because if you leave it on there, it's next to impossible to get it off. There are ways. I know you can soak it in like vinegar to help it, but your brush will never be the same. So just try to rinse it as much as possible, and you want to rinse it this way under the water, so that the water isn't going down into your bristles. It can loosen the bristles, and it can kind of fray the bristles. So just try to rinse it like with the shape of the brush. And then when you're done, you'll just lay it flat. And I lay mine like on a towel, and you want to lay it flat, and you want to kind of shape the bristles so that when they dry, they're back in their original shape. It's no different than when you wash like your makeup brushes. Okay? So let's go ahead and put a 3rd coat on here. So again, I'm just going to dip the brush, just the edges here pretty much. And I'm going to put the first swipe right down the center, because I want to get the majority of the paint that's on the paintbrush to not be right at the edge, because then it might pool in the stitches on the side. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this 3rd coat on really quick, and I'll probably speed through this really fast. Okay, so there's my final coat, and we'll see how it dries. It does look like the planner might be slightly damaged over here, like there might have been like a scratch. I don't know, a kid might have stuck their finger up there and I didn't notice, or an animal, who knows. But for the most part, I think it's gonna turn out pretty cute. There's a couple little stroke lines over here that I want to try to fix. It's kind of, it's a little bit tacky at this point because the leather paint really does dry very fast. So it does start to like set really quickly. So when you're painting, you just want to really focus on one area because it really does start to get tacky very quickly. So now I'm just going to let this dry overnight, and we'll see how it's doing tomorrow. If it feels like it's for the most part pretty dry and not tacky, then I'll go ahead and pop back on the camera. We can put it back together. Otherwise, I'm just going to let it sit here and continue to dry for as long as it needs. And then as soon as it is all set up, then we will go ahead and put the planner together. So perfect, just in time for Valentine's Day. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in just a little bit. Okay, so here we are on day 4, and the planner is done, and I'm really loving the way it turned out. Just wanted to show this to you really quickly. If you don't remember what it looked like on the inside, here is what it looked like previously. This is the really light color that it started as. And here is the really fun bubblegum pink that we have now. I'm really excited. I really do love it. It's not perfect. You can definitely see the streaks. This isn't real leather, so it's not going to paint, it's not going to come out perfectly, unfortunately, but it looks good to me, and I think it's fun. The color is really fun. I don't have another planner like this, so I'm really excited with the way this turned out. When it dried, it's not tacky whatsoever. And I feel like it just came out really great. So this again is the Petal Pink, the Angelus leather paint. I found it on Amazon. I'll link it below. And they do have other colors, and I'm really interested in possibly painting. I really think I need a lilac planner. It's one I don't have yet. So I think that's gonna be my next painting planner. But just wanted to show that to you, and hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial on how to paint your planner. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of my videos, you can go ahead and subscribe. I do typically have 2 to 3 videos out per week, and otherwise I will just see you in the next video. Happy planning. Bye.